On this episode of Relationship 911, we're talking about the smallest things that piss people off.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
We're not.
We are.
I'm Jan.
I'm Monika.
And Elijah, what's today's question?
Tiffany says, my husband and I are getting into a lot of arguments about the smallest things. How can we stop?
Tiffany, I understand all of the small things. When they come together, they become really a big thing. We like to call this collapsing. Have you ever heard of the snowball effect? You have a snowball, you roll it in the snow, all the snow gathers, and you have this big ball of snow now. Well, that's what happens when little things all combine together. When you collapse material, so one argument turns into a disrespectful comment, turns into a feeling of inadequacy, turns into blame and shame game, it just doesn't feel very good. So how do we stop that? Well, first of all, we have to catch it. When we get into the habit of just jumping from one problem to the next, from one issue to the next, from one blame to the next, we have to catch it in order to be able to do something about it. So awareness is a key point here. The next thing is taking each of those things that have all been collapsed together and pulling each one out. What was one thing that upset you? Can you guys have a discussion or have a conversation about one of the things? And once you get through that issue, maybe a couple of other ones will fall away because you'll have an understanding of, hey, I'm really asking you to listen to me instead of telling me the answer or the fix. Or maybe the solution is, I just need to feel like I'm being heard. Or maybe the answer is, I recognize that you have this opinion and I have this opinion, and I really value your opinion. So you need some acknowledgement. Whatever the case may be, when you pull each of those different little things out, then it doesn't become one big problem.
You know, another perspective is that the reason why people in relationships often argue about the small things is because they're not even actually arguing about what they're arguing about. The content of the argument has nothing to do with the argument in itself. Underneath the argument is, I don't feel heard. And if you've watched our videos, you hear us say this over and over and over again. And if you're not paying attention, I don't feel heard. Did that work?
That's funny.
Okay. So people are arguing often about things that don't matter because they just don't feel heard. And the way to deal with that is to simply reflect the information, to say back to the person, is this what you said? Because this is what I'm hearing you say.
So what I am hearing you say is that when you don't feel heard, reflecting the information.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
That is perfect. Thank you.
Nailed it.
Yes. Or reflect the feelings. I hear how frustrated you are. I hear how tough that is. I hear that work was such a long day. Is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah.
When people feel heard and understood and gotten, then a lot of those small arguments just go away.
So if you want your arguments, your bickering, your shameful conversations, your lack of listening, and your lack of appreciation to hit the road, then one of the things we suggest is that you perception check. You check what you are hearing and make sure that it's accurate, or you reflect what you hear. And so you can acknowledge and be with someone through it.
And the other thing also, like Monika said, awareness. If you see that you're arguing about small things, hey, we're arguing about the dumbest things right now. Like, is this really important to you? I don't want to argue about these small things. Can we stop it? Can we just agree on that? And is something else going on that is causing us to argue about the dumbest things? Because I just want to love you and not argue anymore.
So if you feel like you and your partner are part of the itty bitty shitty committee and you guys are sharing all the little tidbits that are upsetting you, then maybe comment below. What are some of the things that you're doing to shift that? What are some of the things that have worked, or what are some of the things that you have questions about so we can answer them on future Relationship 911s?